President Obama says the only reason Hillary Clinton is in a close race with Donald Trump is that she's a woman. Watch.
Hillary Clinton is consistently treated differently than just about any other candidate I see out there. I want every man out there who's voting to kind of look inside yourself and ask yourself, well, if you're having problems with this stuff, how much of it is, that we're just not used to it? So that, when a guy's ambitious and out in the public arena and working hard, well, that's okay. But when a woman suddenly does it, suddenly you're all like, well, why is she doing that?
Our nightly political panel is back. Rick Klein, political director at ABC News, and Fred Barnes, executive editor at the Weekly Standard. Well, Rick, does the president have a point that people are resistant to Hillary Clinton just because she's a woman?
Well, last I checked, Hillary Clinton has lost exactly one presidential race in her lifetime, and she lost it to Barack Obama. I think he had a different argument in 2008 when he was talking about his own history. But this strikes me as a motivational tool. This is like the rigged election. This is go out there and vote because we need to overcome this. And I think this is a piece of the key argument for the close, that they need to get female voters in particular, Democratic base, to be engaged in this. And I think it helps to have an enemy. In this case, the enemy is sexism.
The enemy's men. Guys like
sure,
you and me, Rick, and Fred, you and me. We're against her because she's a woman.
No, I think President Obama was right that there is a candidate who's been treated differently, but it's Donald Trump. It's not. I mean, he's treated differently, partly for the right reason.
He is different.
He's very, very different. He's from out of left field, So, and I went and looked at some polls to see whether what we have here is just a normal gender gap. Now, maybe President Obama forgets this, but women tend to vote more liberal and more Democratic than men. So I looked at the tracking poll that shows Hillary Clinton 1 point ahead, and it showed her, it's the ABC, actually, Washington Post tracking poll. It showed that she was ahead by 8 points among women, and Trump was ahead by 9 points among men. I mean, that's the pretty standard
gender gap.
Yeah, gender gap when whether they're two
let me ask you this
men
question.
or what.
I mean, I think we kind of think that this claim may be baloney, but
yeah, I do.
Who was it aimed at? Was it aimed at getting women to turn out for Hillary because of the evil men, or was it aimed at men to try to guilt them into voting for Hillary because if they don't, they'll feel like they're sexist because Mr. Obama said so? Well,
he said he was aiming it at men, but the truth is there's been a change. I think it's true, and it showed up in the poll of some business magazine. It showed that Trump has been gaining among women. That's helped him tighten the race.
Investors Business Daily poll. That's a pretty widely respected poll.
It is.
That would be, if true, that's remarkable, and it might help explain this, Rick.
Well, and I think another piece of this is trying to explain why Hillary Clinton is as unpopular as she is. This is just historic to have these two candidates who are that unpopular, and it helps to say, even to the base, look, this may be part of the reason you don't like her because of the coverage around her, because there's something inherently unfair about it. I just think it's about getting that base out. That's really what it strikes me.
All right, let's just turn to one other quick thing. We heard earlier President Obama, without naming him, clearly aiming criticism at Director Comey, talking about leaks and incomplete information and the rest of it. What effect from that, Fred, do you think?
Probably none. I mean, the president said, I'm reading it here.
Was that base rallying too?
I'm sorry?
Is that base rallying too?
Oh, well, look, yeah, most of what he's doing is. But he says we don't operate on incomplete information. Well, of course you do. When you have an investigation to get the information, and then he said, oh, that we don't deal with innuendo and we deal with decisions when they're made. Well, there was a decision made, and that is to open this investigation of these new emails.
Well, there was a decision made last July too.
Well, that too.
That he didn't have any problem with, right?
Yeah, this was a brushback pitch, the high hard one at Director Comey, no question. And I think about as far as he could possibly go without seriously jeopardizing, undermining. He had to go out of his way to say, I'm not talking about any particular...
and his own press secretary was saying just a few days ago that he thought he was a man of integrity who would not deliberately try to tilt the election.
Of course not, right? And I think the message was clearly delivered to the Hillary Clinton base and beyond that President Obama has certain feelings about this.
Okay, Rick, Fred, thank you both.